Well, there's nothing like the present time. I mean, I think a lot of people have been asking me, like, why is it taking 18 years to make this solo record? And it's not that it's taken 18 years to make a solo record. It's just taken 18 years to get to the right place for me personally. And when I finished my third album, Man, I think I felt very conscious of the fact that I felt very limited in that kind of place in the music industry where I was, and so I took a kind of wide step to the left, and here we are. And Blank Project for me just feels like I've really come back to myself. I mean, I feel that I'm in a very open and free place, and I think from making the Cherry Thing record, it made it possible. But I think to me it's I think I've always felt like when I was 16, 17 or 20 and thinking about what I do, I always hoped that maybe I could be kind of where I am now when I'm about to turn 50, and for me it's kind of like getting better. And I think I've had this album sitting around my head and in my spirit, and I didn't quite know how to kind of what it was and what that meant. And getting together and writing with Cameron and Paul Sim and The Child of Love, and then meeting Rocket Number 9 and Kieran producing the record, and it was like all the pieces have really come together, and I really feel like I am in that place that I was kind of wishing or imagining, or kind of, yeah, like, in the time that it's taken. I mean, not having made a solo record, I think it's been with me, and I think that I felt very much like longing for this kind of fairly liberated thing of being in a place with my creativity where I'm maybe not so spending so much time internally kind of processing what it is, but just doing it. And there is a kind of, I think that you are in different stages in your life where you're expressing different things, and I think very much for me now it's just about the immediacy of it, being able to take part in it as it sort of unfolds. And I think, making Blank Project in the way that we did, which was a fairly organic kind of process, where we'd rehearsed, me and Rocket Number 9, before we went into the studio with Kieran, enough to be able to just kind of let go and to kind of follow his lead. And as far as what he kind of felt confident, he knew what he wanted, and I think we were able to give it in a way. And it's a blank project.
So is this like I mean, there's been a few years, as you mentioned, since your last sort of solo record. Is this a catch-up effect then, that a lot of energy has stored up, and after this we're going to see more of you, more sort of recent?
Yeah, I think that I've kind of, I've just crossed over another threshold in my life, and I feel like I've got something now, and I'm going to run with it for a while, and I don't think that I've really got a lot of time to fuck around, really. It's like not a lot to play with, so it's just about doing. And I think also when you're kind of inside something that feels good, you want to keep going, because things are making sense. So it's almost like I want to hold on to that feeling, a bit like when you come back from a good holiday and you think, oh wow, I'm gonna stay feeling like this for as long as I can. That's what I'm going to do. I think I'm kind of allergic to the obvious, to something, and I don't think it really works for me. As soon as something sounds a bit too clean or a bit too ironed out, then it doesn't feel right. So I don't think it's so much like a kind of a thing where I'm sort of thinking, oh, I really want to be cutting edge. It's more just what, in the process of making stuff, what ends up feeling right is something that's sort of pushing the boundaries a little bit in sound. But I think also the songs, fundamentally, it's kind of like, this is probably like a kind of an experimental pop record in a way. I think that songs, I can't help maybe but write songs that have a kind of pop sensibility somewhere. But then I think it's always interesting to kind of push the boat out a bit and to kind of combine things that don't necessarily belong together, you know, and maybe that makes for weird, or maybe I'm just a bit weird.